The excitement of embarkation day is something every cruiser dreams about. You've been planning this trip for months, maybe even years, counting down the days until you finally step aboard. The air is filled with anticipation as families snap selfies by the ship's massive hull, couples toast with pre-boarding champagne, and kids bounce with excitement, pointing to the towering slides on the upper decks. But then, before you've even set foot on your vacation paradise, the very first time, waster begins to creep in, waiting in never-ending lines. It always starts the same way. You're herded toward the check-in desks, and the line seems manageable at first. 10 minutes, maybe 20, you can handle that. But soon you notice the shuffle of feet, the heavy sighs from fellow passengers, and the growing realization that you might be spending the better part of your afternoon in a queue that barely seems to move. Suddenly, that dream of heading straight to the pool deck with a frozen daiquiri feels like it's slipping further and further away. What makes it worse is that most of this waiting could have been avoided. Modern cruise lines have rolled out online check-in systems and mobile boarding passes to speed up the process, yet plenty of cruisers show up unprepared. Maybe they forgot to upload their passport information ahead of time. Maybe they didn't print their luggage tags or skipped filling out the health questionnaire. These little oversights balloon into massive delays, not just for them, but for everyone stuck in line behind them. And while you're watching people fumble with documents, shuffle through papers, or dig through bags for a missing ID, you realize that your vacation clock is already ticking without you actually enjoying it. It's not just at boarding, either. Time-wasting lines follow you throughout the first day if you're not careful. Take the buffet, for instance. Everyone heads there at once, starving after travel, and before you know it, you're in another slow, moving snake of hungry passengers. Or think about guest services. A minor hiccup with your onboard account can trap you at the desk for nearly an hour, when you could be lounging poolside. And then there's the biggest offender of all, the muster drill. Once upon a time, these safety briefings meant standing shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of passengers, waiting for instructions that dragged on forever. Thankfully, most cruise lines now let you complete the drill through an app or a quick visit to your designated station. But many people ignore the instructions and wait until the last minute, guaranteeing another crowd and another stretch of wasted time. The truth is, embarkation day sets the tone for your entire vacation. If you started in a haze of waiting and frustration, it's hard to shake that mood. But if you take advantage of pre-boarding technology, stagger your arrival time, and tackle those required steps before you even leave home, you'll breeze past the bottlenecks while others are still stuck in line. Instead of wasting precious hours standing around, you'll already be on deck, drink in hand, watching the skyline drift away as your ship sails toward adventure. Once you've finally settled onto the ship, the last thing you expect is to waste your precious time on endless upsells. Yet from the moment you cross the gangway, it begins. Smiling crew members greet you warmly, offering welcome drinks or packages that sound too good to pass up. Photo bundles, premium dining upgrades, spa treatments, drink packages, internet deals, jewelry sales, shore excursion sign-ups. It feels like a marketplace, and if you're not careful, you'll spend your first day surrounded by sales pitches instead of actually soaking in the magic of being at sea. It usually starts innocently. You're walking through the atrium, dazzled by the grand staircase and live music, when a photographer suddenly appears. "Let me take a picture of you," they say, already guiding you into a pose. Click, click. Later you'll find the photo displayed in the gallery with a hefty price tag, something you hadn't planned for. Then you pass by the spa. Staff members are stationed right at the entrance, gently calling out to everyone who walks by. Have you considered a seaweed wrap? A special deal if you book today. It's tempting, sure. But is that really how you want to spend your first evening? Locked in a sales conversation instead of enjoying the sail away party. The upsells don't stop there. Sit down for your first buffet lunch, and you'll likely be approached about specialty dining packages. Haven't tried the steakhouse? How about the chef's table experience? And while those meals can be amazing, the pressure to make a decision right away can feel overwhelming. Even at the bar, the question isn't just, what would you like to drink? But, are you sure you don't want the unlimited beverage package? It's the best deal. Before you know it, you're nodding politely, pulling out your room card again and again, and losing valuable chunks of time to conversations you didn't need to have. The real danger isn't just the money you might spend, it's the distraction. The first day on a cruise should be about exploration and joy. It's about wandering the decks, getting your bearings, watching the ship slowly push away from port, and feeling that intoxicating sense of freedom that only cruising can bring. Instead, many first-time passengers spend hours trapped in a cycle of special offers that aren't really special at all. And the cruel irony, most of the packages will still be available tomorrow or even later in the week. That supposed last chance deal is rarely as urgent as it sounds. Savvy cruisers know the trick: smile, nod, and keep moving. Have a plan for what you actually want before you board. If you already know you'll drink more than a few cocktails each day, book the drink package in advance online and skip the pitch. If you're interested in a spa treatment, schedule it before embarkation or wait until mid-cruise when discounts are often better. The key is refusing to let sales tactics hijack your excitement, because in the end, no upsell, no exclusive package, and no hard pitch can compare to that unforgettable moment of standing on deck, salty breeze in your hair, watching the horizon stretch endlessly ahead. That's the magic you came for, and no one should waste it. The first morning at sea should feel like pure bliss. You wake up to the gentle rocking of the ship, sunlight streaming through the curtains, and the promise of a full day of adventure ahead. But then hunger strikes, and like thousands of other passengers, you make your way to the breakfast buffet. The smell of sizzling bacon and freshly baked pastries fills the air. You're imagining yourself with a steaming cup of coffee and a plate piled high with fluffy pancakes. But then you turn the corner and, bam, your dreams are shattered by a line that stretches so far you can't even see the end of it. The buffet line is one of the most notorious time wasters at sea. Everyone seems to arrive at the same time, especially on that first sea day when no one's rushing off for excursions. The result: a slow, moving crowd of bleary-eyed cruisers shuffling forward inch by inch, trays in hand, staring longingly at the food they can't yet reach. To make matters worse, there's always that one indecisive person who holds up the entire line, debating whether they want an omelette or scrambled eggs, or asking the server to explain the difference between regular and turkey bacon as though it were a life or death decision. Even once you've reached the serving station, the chaos doesn't end. Families spread out in different directions, kids dart around without looking, and someone inevitably drops a piece of toast right in the middle of the walkway. The drink stations are another bottleneck. Waiting behind a dozen people to get a cup of orange juice or refill your coffee can test anyone's patience. By the time you've navigated the buffet, found a table, and finally sat down, you may feel more exhausted than refreshed. The tragedy here isn't just the waiting, it's the lost opportunity. Breakfast could have been a relaxing moment on the balcony, with a gentle breeze and the ocean as your backdrop. Or maybe you could have discovered a hidden gem on the ship, like the small cafe tucked away on Deck 5 that serves made-to-order lattes and pastries with no line at all. Instead, You've burned through an hour standing in queues, juggling a tray, and trying not to spill your coffee on the carpet. Seasoned cruisers know that the buffet doesn't have to be a daily ordeal. Most ships offer multiple breakfast options, from sit-down dining rooms with table service to small grab and go spots with pastries, fruit, and sandwiches. The key is timing and planning. Arrive a little earlier or later than the morning rush, and suddenly the buffet feels manageable. Better yet, skip it altogether some mornings. Order room service and enjoy breakfast in bed while watching the sea roll by. What makes the buffet line such a frustrating time waster is that it tricks you into thinking it's the only option. New cruisers often fall for this trap, assuming that the hustle and bustle is just part of the experience. But cruising isn't about waiting, it's about freedom. And there's nothing freeing about watching your eggs get cold while you're still searching for silverware. The moment you step away from the herd and realize the ship has more to offer than one crowded buffet, you reclaim your time. You discover that the best breakfasts aren't found at the end of a long line, but in the quiet corners where the ship truly shines. And that, more than anything, is what transforms a wasted morning into a memorable one. You've made it past the embarkation lines, you've survived the buffet chaos, and you're finally starting to feel like your vacation is settling into a groove. But then comes one of the most notorious time drains of any cruise, the guest services desk. At first glance, it doesn't look too bad. A shiny counter, a few smiling staff members behind it, and a line that seems manageable. But anyone who's been on a ship before knows the truth. Stepping into that line is like entering a black hole for your vacation time. It usually begins with something minor. Maybe your onboard account isn't showing the drink package you purchased months ago. Maybe your room key isn't working the way it should. Or maybe you just want to ask a quick question about internet access. This will only take a minute. You think optimistically. But then you notice the line isn't moving. A family of 6 is at the counter, and they're trying to sort out charges from the arcade, a lost key card, and a complicated situation involving 3 cabins. The staff is patient, of course, but the minutes stretch into what feels like hours. And there you stand, shifting your weight from foot to foot, watching valuable vacation time slip away. It's not just the wait that's frustrating, it's the atmosphere. The guest services line has its own unique energy, a mix of impatience, irritation, and the occasional outburst. Someone always seems to be loudly disputing a bar bill, while another passenger is frustrated about missing luggage. There's usually at least one person ahead of you who didn't bring proper documentation for a credit card and now wants to argue with the staff about it. And while their issue drags on, you're stuck listening, wishing you were anywhere else on the ship. The irony is that so many of the problems that send people to guest services could have been avoided. The onboard app often has account details and package information at your fingertips. Housekeeping can resolve a surprising number of room issues directly, from missing towels to key cards that won't work. Even booking excursions or specialty dining can usually be done through kiosks or on your phone. Yet time and again, guests funnel toward that desk like it's the only solution, turning it into a time-wasting trap. The smartest cruisers know how to avoid this pitfall. If you must go to guest services, pick your moment wisely. Lines are always longest right after boarding, on the first full sea day, and during evenings when everyone's returning from shore excursions. The sweet spots are early morning or mid-afternoon when most people are elsewhere. Better yet, resolve as much as you can before you even leave home. Check your reservations, confirm your packages, and make sure your credit card information is up to date. Because here's the thing, no one boards a cruise ship dreaming about the hours they'll spend standing in line at guest services. No one takes vacation days to listen to another passenger argue over on 15 mini bar charge. You came here for the sunsets, the laughter, the ocean breeze, and the memories you'll cherish. The guest services desk may be a necessary part of the cruise, but wasting your precious time there doesn't have to be. With a little foresight, you can keep walking right past that line and straight toward the fun you came for. The muster drill is one of those cruise traditions that everyone dreads, but no one can escape. It's necessary. Of course, safety always comes first. But if you've ever found yourself standing shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of fellow passengers in the sweltering sun, you know it feels less like a safety briefing and more like a mass exercise in wasting time. For decades, this drill has been the unavoidable bottleneck of embarkation day, eating up the very hours you'd rather spend exploring the ship or sipping a cocktail at sail away. It starts with the announcement. A cheerful voice echoes through the speakers, reminding everyone that the muster drill is mandatory. You're told to grab your life jacket, or, on some ships, simply your cruise card, and head to your designated station. And then it begins, the exodus. Thousands of passengers shuffle down staircases and corridors, all moving in the same direction, all trying to figure out where they're supposed to go. Crew members wave signs and direct traffic, but confusion reigns. People stop mid-walk to check maps, families split up accidentally, and elevators grind to a halt under the weight of everyone who forgot they were supposed to take the stairs. When you finally arrive at your muster station, the real waiting begins. You stand in tightly packed rows, surrounded by strangers, with nothing to do but glance at your watch and wonder how long this will take. The air is hot, the noise is overwhelming, and inevitably, someone near you decides this is the perfect moment to strike up a long conversation about past cruises. If you're unlucky, you end up near that one passenger who ignores the crew's instructions, pulling out their phone to record a video instead of paying attention. And while everyone waits for those stragglers who didn't bother showing up on time, your vacation clock ticks away. The actual briefing itself is mercifully short: life jackets, lifeboats, emergency signals. But the time wasted gathering, waiting, and dispersing makes it feel like an eternity. By the time you're finally released, your feet ache, your patience is thin, and you can't help thinking that you just lost a precious slice of your holiday to an event you'll never remember fondly. Thankfully, times are changing. In recent years, many cruise lines have introduced app-based muster drills. Instead of crowding together, you can now watch a short safety video on your phone or television in your cabin, then check in at your muster station at your own convenience. It takes minutes instead of hours, freeing you to spend embarkation day the way you actually want. But even with these upgrades, there are always passengers who procrastinate, waiting until the very last minute. And when they do, the ship is forced to delay departure or repeat announcements, dragging everyone else into their time-wasting habits. The lesson here is simple: don't make the muster drill the anchor that drags down the start of your vacation. Get it done as soon as possible, follow the instructions, and move on. The sooner you finish, the sooner you can head to the top deck, order that first celebratory drink, and watch the shoreline slip away. After all, the whole point of a cruise is freedom and relaxation, and there's nothing relaxing about wasting an hour standing in a crowded hallway, wishing you were anywhere else.